Also known as Landlord from Hell, this is My Landlord Wants Me Dead, starring this person who, according to her own IMDb profile page, is taking Hollywood by storm. I'm Jay Harangue and I've wasted hours of my life watching terrible films.
You should subscribe.
We start by meeting this couple, Grace and Paul. They immediately explain to the audience that they both live in the city and that this spare house they have is empty. Paul won't let Grace rent it out or sell it, so Grace has invited her troubled niece Maddie to come and stay there for a while. Paul's like, fine, but she has to stay out of the master bedroom.
She can stay in the guest room.
Oh good, here she is.
Hi.
Within seconds, Grace tells Maddie that she and Paul have been going through a rough patch. Grace is off to Africa because she's a professional photographer. Maddie likes taking photos too, and Grace is like, well, while I'm in Africa, feel free to use the camera equipment I'm not taking with me.
Thank you.
What?
Oh yeah, that's the first thing about Maddie. She drags out the last syllable of words like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Anyway, it's time for Maddie to meet Paul, and Paul's like, I don't want you staying here, but Grace insisted.
I just have one rule. Stay out of this bedroom.
So Paul seems nice. Grace tells Maddie that she's worried that her relationship with Paul is over.
Don't say that.
She said that.
How cute is that?
Oh yeah, there's also no internet or cell service at this house because plot. But there is a landline. Maddie then leaves her cell phone on the bed next to a rubbish hat when the car arrives to take Grace to Africa. Here, Maddie first notices her new neighbour, Kevin. When she gets back in the house, she finds that Paul has locked the door to the master bedroom with her cell phone in it. As she's relaxing with some wine, someone is watching her from outside. Then she hears a noise.
Oh, shoot.
Maddie still can't get into the master bedroom, so she uses the landline to call her best friend Layla. She tells Layla everything that's been happening at the house and also mentions Kevin.
Is he cute?
I wouldn't have mentioned him if he wasn't.
But oh no, cute Kevin is hanging around outside the house. The next morning, Maddie finds this old iPod in her bedside table, so we get a few minutes of her dancing and taking photos of Kevin to the song Busy Lives by Pom Pom.
All right.
But this awful song stops when Maddie finds her cell phone on the ground smashed. When Maddie goes into Grace's photo hut or whatever this is, Kevin comes in. He's like, hi, I'm Kevin, I live next door. But then he sees a photo of him she's taken without his permission. So that's a bit awkward.
You know, the depth and detail are really quite impressive.
Now, I'm no expert on photography, but I'm not getting that from this photo. Anyway, Kevin's like, I came over to ask you if you'd seen my cat Jazzy. He has a pink collar. And Maddie's like, no. Later, Maddie's looking through Grace's things and sees a load of photos of this woman with Paul. The next morning, while popping zits in her underwear...
Paul! What are you doing here?
He's like, it's my house. Did you spill wine on this pillow?
I'm gonna go put some clothes on.
You do that.
When she comes back out, she hears Paul crying in the master bedroom. She's like, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I just needed a shit.
I lit a candle. I was trying to be polite, you know.
Thank you.
He's like, never touch the thermostat. It needs to stay at 65. And I'd stay away from Kevin if I were you. So that was a bit weird. When he leaves, Maddie notices blood on the doorframe. Later, Layla has come over and she meets Kevin when he's out looking for his cat. Inside, Layla's like, fucked him yet?
Layla!
Oh yeah, that's another thing about Maddie. Sometimes she speaks like a ventriloquist. Her mouth doesn't move, but sounds come out.
Layla!
Layla remarks on what a nice house this is, but Maddie tells her she doesn't feel safe there.
I feel like there's always someone watching me.
Then they move into another room and start reading Grace's diary.
I came back early to find Paul and Casey lounging on the couch. I don't think anything was going on, but it was still odd.
Casey is the girl in the photos with Paul. But oh no, Paul is watching them through the window. When Layla leaves, he pours blood into the water tank. So Maddie calls Paul.
Maddie, what's wrong?
Blood just started coming out of the faucet.
You sure you're not on your period, Maddie?
No!
The next morning, Paul tells her that some animals had gotten into the septic tank and that he found Jazzy's collar in there. For some reason, Maddie decides not to tell Kevin about this, but does ask Paul who the girl is in the photos.
Yeah, that's Casey. She's a model that Aunt Grace used in all of her photo shoots.
Where is she now?
I don't know.
That night, Kevin comes round with a bottle of wine and a tiny pizza. Are they supposed to share that? Is this normal? Am I just a fat, greedy bastard?
Yes.
Anyway, Paul is spying on their little date through the window. Their date seems to be them reminiscing about all the moments they've shared. Like that time he found the photo of him she'd taken.
That was one photo.
That was one photo. She asks Kevin if he likes Paul, and Kevin's like, I used to, but ever since Casey left, he's been weird. Maddie tells Kevin how some animals got into the septic tank.
I don't think that's possible.
And then oh, no they don't. They're about to until Kevin sees the iPod Maddie's been using and decides he has to leave. Later that night when Maddie's asleep, Paul lets himself in, touches her leg, and thinks about smothering her face with a pillow.
Good.
Sadly, he doesn't do it.
Oh.
But when Maddie gets up, Paul's still in the house.
Oh my God, what are you doing? You're naked.
He's like, I just thought I'd crash here.
Jeez, you're naked, Paul. Can you just leave?
As he leaves, he bumps into Kevin. Kevin's like, you better be nice to Maddie. Paul's like, whatever, Kevin. Stop blaming me for the fact that Casey left. Meanwhile, Maddie is on the phone to Layla doing a plot recap. Layla's like, why don't you just leave? And Maddie's like, I can't. I promised Aunt Grace I'd take care of the house. Grace has no pets and Maddie's not actually taking care of anything. But she's staying anyway because plot. Later, she tells Kevin that Paul found his dead cat in the septic tank.
You know what a septic tank is, right?
No.
Just doesn't make sense.
When Maddie's in the shower, Paul lets himself in and takes the handle off the door, so she's locked in the bathroom. But as he's giggling to himself in his car, he sees Kevin come over, and he lets her out.
You know, I brought some wings.
Probably 2 each.
Yep.
She asks Kevin to stay, but the bed's too small, so they break into the master bedroom and then they bang, while Paul watches through the window. Although we don't see Paul knocking one out when he gets back to his car, it's certainly implied. When they get up the next morning...
What happened?
What happened? It's obvious what happened. Someone trashed the house and tore up photos.
Only your photos are ripped up, but none of your aunt's.
Do you think animals could have done this?
What? Unbelievable. Anyway, obviously it was Paul, but Maddie still doesn't get it.
I think this was Paul.
Why? I didn't do anything.
This is shit. Anyway, eventually she agrees to leave a hidden camera out just to make sure. This is not a hidden camera. It's one of the first things someone would notice when they come in from the front door. This is shit. Anyway, while they're cleaning up, Maddie finds Casey's suitcase. She knows it's Casey's because it's got a photo of her in it, because that's what people do apparently.
I don't think so.
In the photo, she's wearing a wig that's still in the closet, so Maddie decides to put it on when Layla comes over that night to read more of Grace's diary. It turns out Kevin and Casey were a couple, and Paul is listening in through the window. Oh no, he's going into the bedroom. What's under the bed frame?
I just don't know what it is.
Oh, it's Casey's dead body wrapped in plastic.
Excuse me?
What a revolting development.
Now we're treated to some flashbacks of how when Casey was staying there, Paul fell in love with her. Then how her and Kevin got together and Paul was jealous. Probably the best one is him walking in on Kevin and Casey having sex.
What are you doing? Casey.
Get out! Oh my God.
And finally this one, where Paul overheard Casey on the phone to Kevin.
I'm moving in with him. We're in love.
But I'm the one who's in love with you. You just need to give us a chance. No, please, please.
I don't love you! Please.
And ever since then, he's kept her body under the bed frame and gone in every so often to lie next to it. That's why he hasn't wanted to sell or rent the house out, and that's why he doesn't want the thermostat turned up.
Yes, of course. Now things are beginning to make sense.
Later, Kevin sees Paul outside the house and confronts him about all the stuff he's been doing to Maddie. He's like, don't drive her away like you did Casey. So Kevin's dead. When Layla gets home, Paul has followed her and gets her to let him into her apartment by pretending to be the maintenance guy. This scene is ridiculous. She shuts herself in the bathroom and it doesn't lock, so she pretends to try to move these drawers that can't possibly be this heavy. Even if they are, she's not going to move them like this, is she?
No.
Then Paul smashes through the door that's clearly made of cardboard and knocks her out with a chloroform rag. So Layla's dead. The next morning, unaware of what's happened to Kevin or Layla, Maddie goes round to Kevin's house, but he's not there because he's dead. So she goes out taking photos again. Little does she know that while she was knocking on Kevin's door,
Knocking on heaven's door.
Paul has been in the house and drugged her water bottle, so she collapses. She wakes up a few hours later and makes her way back to the house, where Paul is waiting outside in his car. I can't work out what's going on here, but something makes Maddie think to check the hidden camera, and it shows that Paul has been in the house, drugged her water bottle, and dragged what looks like a body inside. And it looks like it was Kevin's body. When she finds it, she screams, and Paul, who can hear the screams from his car, starts laughing. Then he cuts the phone lines and lets himself in. He stands in the hallway telling Maddie how he's going to kill her, but when he finds her in the bedroom, he sees that she's taken the sheets off the bed, so he's worried about Casey's dead body.
Ew.
This gives Maddie time to escape the house. Paul is coming, so Maddie grabs a shovel and runs to this bridge.
That's for Layla. That's for Kevin. That's for Casey.
Yeah! She decides against finishing off the man who's trying to kill her. Instead, she takes his phone, goes back inside and calls 911.
That could backfire.
She notices that the bed is open again, and Paul is back up and in the house. He tries to strangle her, just like he did to Casey, but Maddie grabs a hammer and knocks him out. The police arrive and arrest Paul, just as Grace has returned home from Africa. 1 year later, we see Maddie. It seems she's a big-time photographer now, and her work is being displayed at a gallery, and all of her photos are of Paul's victims.
Oh, I see.
And that's the end of the film. So until next time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and check out this other video. Thank you.